Hey everyone, we have just come out of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. It's a long movie and it's got a long title, of course. So the film follows Coriolanus Snow, who mentors and develops feelings for the female District 12 tribute during the 10th Hunger Games. So it stars Rachel Zegler, Tom Blythe, Viola Davis. You also got Peter Dinklage in there as well. It's directed by Francis Lawrence. So he also did all the other Hunger Games, I believe. So Nan, I'll ask you this straight out of the gate. Is the Hunger Games back?
This isn't the MCU.
It can still be back.
The Hunger Games is back.
You know, it's been nearly 10 years since the last one. That's crazy, eh?
No, over 10 years. I'm pretty sure the first one was 2012.
No, I mean like the last Hunger Games movie we got, which I think was 2014.
Oh.
Time's gone fast.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed this one. It caught me by surprise. I actually think it's probably better than most of the Hunger Games. I'd probably rate it second, maybe third in the overall franchise at the moment. But yeah, like I said, this one took me by surprise because I'm pretty sure you had on your least anticipated. I'm sure you get into that later. But judging from those first trailers, it didn't look that enticing. Everyone was saying, why are we getting this for?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small book and it's 2 hours 38. And I think the runtime is justified. I did feel it was a bit too long at some points, especially during the third act. It got a bit sluggish there, but then like that last 15 minutes is just, I thought was probably one of the best or better parts of the movie. You know, that
the last 15 minutes. Yeah.
Because that's when you just see, is it Tom Blythe?
Yeah, Tom Blythe, who plays Coriolanus. Yeah. I keep wanting to say Cornelius.
That's when you see like Tom Blythe like fully come into this role as President Snow, and like that's when you actually see the characterization of President Snow or Coriolanus Snow as well. In regards to Tom Blythe, I thought he was pretty good. Overall, I haven't seen him in much, if anything, at all. So I think this is the first time I've seen him in something, and I thought it was really, really good. I thought he captured the character of Coriolanus quite well, and like the transition of him being good and slowly starting to snap him full into the President Snow that we all know and foreshadow what's about to happen. I think he handled that really, really well. Rachel Zegler, I thought she was pretty decent as well. She wasn't quite a damsel in distress, but she was one of those, what am I trying to say? One of those, not badass, but like badass sort of female, similar to like Cactus, you know, like
kind of like mentally strong.
Yeah, mentally strong, like one of those ones that just, you know, fuck the system sort of people. And obviously with her in it, they had to add in musical songs and stuff. I think we had about 4 or 5. So you're going in for a musical, guys. Those were pretty much the 2 standouts. Viola Davis was pretty decent. You know, she's just her usual self, but in a more creepier way. Peter Dinklage, I think it was a bit of a waste. You know, he just played a bad version of Tyrion Lannister, really, but with an American accent. The production design for the film is very similar to what we see in the other Hunger Games, you know, except it's a bit more old school because it's based on the 10th annual one. So obviously all the technology is a bit more older, and the fighting arena is a lot more small and more basic, really. So I think they really captured I have no idea what date it's set in, but it was good. I really enjoyed the score not for some reason, but there was moments where I was like, is this Hans Zimmer? And then I was like, nah, it can't be. It's not. I think it was just like, it wasn't bombastic, but it was like that deep violin-y string type instruments that we sometimes hear from Hans Zimmer when he's like making smallerish sort of movies.
Yeah, it was by James Newton Howard. So he's very good at what he does. So
he is. Yeah, I thought the score was great and fully captured the emotions of the scenes and what was going on. And I think the last score, within the last 5 minutes of where we see Coriolanus, like, you know, fully snapping and starting to take power, it was like him, like the strings, the way it played, it sort of seemed like he was like losing his mentality, sort of. Losing sight of who he actually is, which is foreshadowing. Speaking of foreshadowing, there's a lot of callbacks.
Maybe a bit too much. Well, not subtle enough, just right out there.
No, like the way Katniss's name was dropped was just like, really?
Yeah.
That
Shook my head at that.
That was cringe. But also the song, it's in there as well, and I thought that was a nice fit because I think Rachel Zegler sang that pretty nicely as well. Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, man, I'm with you. Like you said before, this was under my least anticipated, and that is because I didn't like the last two Hunger Games, the part 1 and part 2, Mockingjay, and the whole Hunger Games concept. I thought we've seen it before. I don't need to see it again. I know how this plays out, kind of thing. And I'd heard that the book that it's based on is not nearly as good as the other books. So I was like, okay, I'm not interested in this at all. I was wrong. This is very good, and I'm right there with you. I think it's my second favorite Hunger Games movie. Catching Fire, I think Catching Fire is very, very good. Yeah. That's probably my favorite by far.
Yeah.
But yeah, this kind of comes in line with the first Hunger Games. I might give this one the edge, though. I mean, and you said like it is long, and I don't know if I fully agree that it's too long. I think the only thing long is the title, if I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it was long enough. I think the ending's quite rushed. You know how it kind of plays out without giving away spoilers. Just the final scenes with Rachel Zegler's character and Tom Blythe's character. That kind of it was really rushed and kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, okay. And then we get to the end of the movie like really quickly. I thought they needed more time to flesh that out. I would say the structure of the movie is very similar to Oppenheimer. You know how it builds up to, the big event, the Trinity test, the Hunger Games, and then we get, the hour added on at the end to go through, the ramifications. Yeah. And so I think it plays quite nicely with that kind of structure. And I really kind of liked it because I thought in the first 2 acts, the pacing was like phenomenal. I was like, holy shit, I'm gripped. Because I told you in the movie, I'm like, I'm going to need to go to the bathroom at some point during this. I didn't because like I was just so like locked in. But that last act is quite slow. And I think they could have found a way to speed it up. I think they wasted some time in there and they could have put some really valuable stuff in there and created a very like dense movie. But yeah, you nailed it with Tom Blythe, man. Honestly, I think this might be a movie where he like kind of blows up, like
similar to how what's her face, Jennifer Lawrence blew up
after Hunger Games. Yeah. I definitely think so, and I think he's worthy of it. I think he captured young Snow quite well. We see the moral compass of Coriolanus Snow just disintegrate, and I think he portrays it in a really, really compelling way. Rachel Zegler, I thought, was really good, but I think her performance took a bit of time for me to really start to enjoy. At the start, she's got kind of like a really forced Southern accent, and I was like, oh no, yeah. But I think she's kind of fell right into the role as it went on further, and I think she does a really good job with chemistry. Now, I thought she had a really good chemistry with Tom Blythe, and I really bought into that. And obviously, she's an amazing singer. So any like singing performance here is just very, very good. But yeah, no, I think it's very enjoyable. Would easily welcome a continuation of the story. Going back to the cast, Viola Davis, I thought she was really good as well. Really menacing, and it was just a wacky kind of take.
Like it was creepy almost.
Yeah. I was really good at like because the camera's so close to her face.
Yeah, and
like, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and they like disfigure her face a little bit.
Yeah,
as well. So that on top of her performance as well, you just like, ugh.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, but for the Hunger Games in this one, I was like, kind of like because you kind of enjoy the Hunger Games and the first 2 movies. But this one, I was just kind of like, well, I don't feel good watching this. It's kind of because I don't know, maybe they're young, but they portrayed it in a really dark way. Like this isn't like a glossy kind of, family friendly. It gets pretty dark, and there's some really dark imagery, and involving like nooses and stuff. And I'm like, wow, I don't see that kind of imagery in like big movies these days. So I mean, I really credit the studio having some balls to put like real stakes and real things in there, and just kind of making the Hunger Games a real sickening experience.
Yeah,
because they are sick, bro. Like,
especially in these early days as well.
Yeah, they're ruthless.
Before it got glorified into like an event that we know in the Hunger Games, like there was so much like controversy, and you can even hear some of the characters discussing why is this even a thing.
Yeah. I mean, because the Hunger Games is all about the social commentary based on dystopian times and whatnot. But like, they really showcase it here. I think it's brilliant with what they do. Like, just like it shows how they treat people from other districts and like the segregation of different kind of groups. I think it's just they show it in a really powerful way, and I think they do it in a way that the other like Hunger Games things haven't done before. Like, I was like quite angry at like the people in the Capitol, the leaders there, and what they were doing. Far more in this than I have been in the other Hunger Games. Like, I was like, wow, okay, this is really messed up, and just how the Hunger Games played out. It's pretty gruesome. But yeah, on the visual side of things, I think it nailed it visually. Movie's got $100 million budget, and I think it used it very, very wisely. There's not a point where like I'm like looking at the visual effects and I'm like, well, okay, that looks really bad. But it's not a movie that I think relies on visual effects much at all. I think a lot of it's practical. The sets feel real, and the actions, I guess, it's dynamic. It feels more tangible. So I think did a really good job, and I think it shows, or it's showing a lot, because I guess budgets have been such a big topic this year. You don't need these $250 million budgets to create good stuff. $100 million, you can still do good things with it, and I think this movie is a testament to that. Yeah, so I think it was shot fine. I think it's probably shot better than the average blockbuster we get these days.
I think so too.
Yeah, it was quite grounded, and I think he captured scale and all that kind of stuff really well. And obviously the production design, I think, is just pretty solid all around. As you covered with the music, I think it was very good. It really caught me by surprise as well for a lot of the time. So yeah, the Hunger Games is back. I'm on board with more Hunger Games. If they're at this quality, I think they're good.
What would you like to see from the Hunger Games? Like, where they go to from here?
Oh, I mean, I think we could just get a sequel to this prequel. Like, I think there was a lot more to tell. I want to see how the events of this movie kind of play out, and I guess how the games develop, because we got to the 75th in Catching Fire, I believe, and this was only the 10th. So we can see different kinds of the games and how this world politically, carries on through time. Obviously, we've talked about it before. The first one would be very interesting.
Yeah.
And we kind of get some insight here on how the idea came about, and I want to see that because it's kind of fucked up. It is really messed up. So to see that play out on the screen, I think that could be quite interesting. Like, what about you?
Pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see this character of Snow pretty much become the figure that he is, and that we see in the first series, The Hunger Games, and then also that first Hunger Games as well. We can't really go any further than Mockingjay because they sort of broke the system then.
Yeah, I can't even remember it because I watched it once at a midnight screening and I never revisited the movie because I remember being bored out of my mind. Pretty sure that was a staff screening at Hoyt's, by the way, that I went to and watched that.
Probably.
Yeah, way back. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm very surprised, and yeah, I'm keen for more Hunger Games, man. This is good. I mean, I think the Rotten Tomatoes scores around 67 now. Yeah,
pretty decent.
I'm surprised I thought it would be a lot higher.
Yeah, it feels like a 70 type sort of movie for me.
Yeah, I did. I remember you did a segment on Let's Be Real predicting Rotten Tomatoes scores, and I said 80 for Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds. I just had a feeling that it might just surprise. I think it deserves an 80. I think it deserves an 80. But yeah, any other thoughts to add on to this? No? You want to hit into your score? You go first?
I always go first.
Yeah. So out of 10, what do you give The Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes?
Hunger Games a musical, I would give it a 7.5.
7.5. That's fair. I like that. I am going to go an 8. Yeah, it's just a really well-made blockbuster. If you compare to the blockbusters that we've had this year, this stands in the high tier, the one of the top tier ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it has been a shite year for blockbusters. But yeah, guys, we are done here for our review of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Don't worry about that title. It is way too long. Don't worry about the movie. It is not too long. You'll be begging for more once you're out of it. Anyway, go and see this movie. Support this one if you can. I definitely think The Hunger Games deserves you to give it another chance again, because yeah, this one is good. So yeah, don't be scared by the long runtime, even though I think movies are getting way too long these days. Anyway, if you do go see it, when you go see it, do head on over to @MovieGames on YouTube, X/Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can. Let us know what you thought, and we can have a conversation from there. Otherwise, just head on over to moviegames.com. We do a whole bunch of content over there, box office, physical media, Oscars, you name it. Check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for all your podcasting needs. We got you covered. Anyway, we're done here. Keep bringing the hype. Peace.
See you later.